Okay, are we ready?
I'm ready to pop.
Army, we ready, buddy?
I'm ready to take it.
All right, brother.
Mode.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dirty Dog Podcast. We are located here in Vancouver, right? Is this Vancouver?
I think
Guys,
so.
we're in my
Just
home. That's
possible.
why I'm wearing fucking shorts right now. I'm looking like a bum. I was looking like a bum last episode, but fuck it. I'm in my own fucking home. Guys, welcome, Riffraff Patrol, guys.
What's
Thank you
going
so much
on?
for coming, guys. I love you guys. Thank you
I
so
love
much
you
for
too,
coming
baby.
on.
Don't worry.
This is dope.
I'm stoked to be here.
Guys, we're gonna throw up their Instagram right now because I want you guys to take a pause and like go check out their shit. So Alex's Instagram will be up, and then Riffraff Patrol, they're both up there. Armin will throw that up.
We'll
there
get
for
them
you guys.
up. We'll get them up.
Go give a listen. Go look at their reels. Go look at their shots they've taken. It's pretty crazy, honestly. Like, you guys did a lot of cool shit. A lot of cool shit
I
that a
hope
lot
so.
of people don't get to do every fucking day of their lives.
Yeah, man. That was kind of the premise of the trip. So
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yo, Riffraff. Where did Riffraff Patrol come from? What is Riffraff? What is to be a Riffraff?
yeah. So I mean, I'm just gonna jump in on this. You could jump in and do your thing.
I hate
Riffraff.
to be that guy, but talk more into the mic.
Got
eh?
you. Got you.
God bless you.
Riffraff was something for myself that I had wanted to start because I had always viewed myself as a shithead, like just as a troublemaker, as one of those guys that got up to doing things that other people didn't do because they were too much of a wuss about it or whatever. And, you know, I was always just kind of viewed as like a bad kid, you know what I mean? And
Bad
like,
rap.
but like, you know, I just kind of thought about like, I did a lot of stuff that other people didn't do, and I had a lot more fun than most people did. And every time I met people like me, they were always kind of riffraff. They were the wanted people. They were the grungy people. They were the whatever people. They were the broke people. But they were the people having the most fun. And they were traveling and they were whatever. And they didn't have their lives together and they didn't care. And I was like, I kind of want some of that right now. So that's where, you know, it started, and where the name came from was Riffraff Patrol. Like, I want to go find other riffraff like myself and live an amazing
you.
riffraff life. Yeah.
Both of you want to do this.
Yes.
Yeah,
This was
absolutely.
one decision, right?
No, I don't make any of the shots in this relationship. What
Fair
do you
enough. I almost don't believe that.
Yeah.
But nice. Yo, so what was, like, when you guys made this riffraff community or whatever the hell you want to call it, and you guys wanted to trek down to the States and like follow the West Coast, like, when did this plan start and how did it start?
Yeah, so we started Riffraff in November, before we had the plan, like the trip all planned out. I had actually just bought a 1987 Westphalia that I restored that entire summer, and we were taking it out to Tofino and stuff like that. And we had a buddy out there that was out there, so I bought a ton of filming equipment, was learning how to use drones, you know, a bunch of vlogging equipment and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna give it a year of my life and see what I can make of it, see how much fun I can have, see all the places I can see. And the first weekend that we launched it actually was in Tofino. So we did a little trip out to Tofino. I made my first video on Windows Movie Maker. It was lit.
Nice.
And I was super proud of it. I was super excited, and the whole weekend just had so much color. And that's when I was like, I want to do this long term. And I guess you can kind of chat a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on with the Tofino trip kind of being our launch of meeting cool people and having a really good time, and that kind of being where we wanted to go with it. But the whole idea of the road trip came from like a week-long trip that we did in Cabo together, like right as things were opening up. It was the first plane I think we'd been on in 2 years. And we were on the ATV trip that we took you guys on.
Yep.
And we
Super
were along
fun.
the beach, and there was this couple, and they were getting out of their van. It was like 8 a.m. and they were brushing their teeth like literally out the side of their car. They were pulling up their chairs to sit on the beach. And I was like, oh fuck, like that's what me and my family did. Like, I did this road trip 16 years ago. And he looked at me, he's like, what the fuck? Like, that's what you did? Like, that's what you were living like? I was like, yeah, that's like van life. And he was
Certified
like, why
bum.
the fuck are we not doing this?
I just couldn't fathom it. She was like, yeah, I did, you know, we did the van life down in when I was a kid and blah, blah. I was like, yeah, cool, whatever, dude, like, blah, blah. And then I saw it and I was like, this is what you were doing? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like seeing someone brush their teeth, like in the back of their van, and like they're just chilling and some dude's fishing. I'm like, why are we not doing this? We have an amazing van sitting in our driveway collecting dust. Like, we should be doing this. So that's kind of where the trip idea started for us. And then we started to kind of piece together the trip of what we wanted to do, going down the coast to hit Baja.
Yeah.
Nice. So where did it start? Where did the journey start? You guys left from Vancouver, and where'd you hit first?
The first stop was visiting Seattle to see your dad. That was like our first stop. The first night was just outside of Portland.
Yeah, so we ripped through Seattle because, like, you know, I mean, Washington, we're from Vancouver, so most of us have seen Washington. So I was like, I just want to say hi to my dad. My biological father lives in Washington, so I did. I knew he was going to give me a little bit of money because every time I see him, I was like, cool. He feels bad for not
A little
talking.
scoop up before the big trip.
Feels bad for not talking to me for 15 years, so, you know, I'll take the money. But and then
I
yeah,
see your baby brother.
Oh yeah, I have a baby brother. Yeah, he has 3 kids with 3 different moms, so no big deal.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy's a baller.
This guy's all over the map.
Yeah,
man.
he's
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, and then so we ripped through and then spent the first night in Portland, just outside of Portland, like at this super awesome waterfall that was there, and that was like our first night. And
It was super fucking cold.
oh my god,
Oh,
How cold? What are we talking? Like Vancouver cold?
oh
or
like Vancouver cold. Like
Wow.
it was rainy, it was wet, and we were so prepared for our like warm weather. We kind of forgot about the first 2 weeks being wet and rainy and cold.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was probably the worst sleep. We were just literally outside on the highway, like on the side of the highway, so every big truck that went by, we could hear everything. Like it was the
And
first night was
we're trying to
little
keep
rough.
like our chipper spirits. We're like, van life, we're doing it. We're so prepared.
Yeah.
I
like I had to pee and there's no bathrooms, so I'm outside like
Pop a
popping
squat.
a squat
Yeah.
in the rain. I'm like, fuck, what did I get myself
No,
into?
literally, and like I have
First
every
couple
piece
nights
of
were
equipment on the
tragic.
planet strapped to the side of this fan. I got like my bikes, my water tanks, like everything, like zero heater. We're like freezing. I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like we're just like, and it's so loud. Like trucks are barreling by, and I'm like,
Yeah.
don't get a wink of sleep the first night. And we're like, is this what van life is? Like we're sitting here like we got totally jinxed, man. Like
Well, you guys are just learning, right? Like you guys are just
Yeah.
stepping foot into the new era of living in your van. Like that is
Yeah.
so much more different than living in your your
Oh,
old
yeah.
place or
Oh,
wherever
yeah.
you were before.
But like to compare that first night to like even if you jump forward like a month
Yeah.
of us being in our van, we were like pros, and then
Oh,
like
yeah.
another month we were like pros. You know what I mean? So every month that you're out there, every like a couple days even, you get so much better. Like it's like doing anything. It's almost like a sport. Like there is effort in living van life. It's not like I come
Oh,
home
yeah.
from my work and I sit on my couch and turn my TV on. It's like
But
I
it's
gotta-
also like it's not a vacation. Like you're
No.
still living, and you have
Yeah.
to pack up your home every
Yeah.
single time you move. Like it's work. Like
yeah,
it
it's
was
like
not like
pop the top, like get the propane going, get all this stuff going. Cool. Like, is this a suitable place? Are people gonna kick us out at 5 a.m.? Like, is it loud at night? Like, it's man. It's
Yeah.
like it's a job.
But it's
like,
glorified, like online. The whole hashtag van life, like
Yeah.
you see it, and you're like, oh my god, I want to live that life. But like, it's not all that glamorous when you.
That's what
actually
social
do it.
media is.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
it's those
sure.
little like 5-second clips that are fantastic of your
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
which we did too. Like
That's
everything
all
you
I
saw.
saw.
Yeah,
That's all I
the
fucking
things
saw.
were fantastic and great.
I mean, we
but-
kept seeing, because I was like so excited. We kept seeing like videos of like, you know, a girl in the middle of the desert, and she's got her like hipster hat on, and she's got like her perfectly made coffee and breakfast, and it's like, go van life. And I'm like, oh my god, that looks great. And realistically, we're like in a Fred Meyer parking lot with like Fred Meyer hot dogs and like
yeah, we have a
sitting-
Fred Meyer like
freezing our asses off, like
subscription, so.
looking like legit homeless people living in a van. Like, yeah, so it's not always glamour, but there are some amazing perks, and we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah. So you guys hit San Francisco, and then you guys went where? And how often did you guys stop every couple days?
First little bit, we kind of booked it through. So we did
Mm.
the Oregon like coast. So we came down like Cannon Beach, Cape Coando was beautiful, Pacific City. But we would maybe be like a night or two. Like we really wanted to hit like warm weather. And the first place we got that was right outside California at Harris Beach State Park. That was the first time I think we were in our shorts, like actually feeling warm.
Mm. Yeah, it was
and
like
sleeping.
14 degrees.
Yeah, that's warm for us Canadians.
Yeah, for sure. People were like in full on puffers and stuff, and I'm like shorts, you know, like
Tank
tank
top,
top. And people were like
flip-flops.
looking at me and they're like, oh, he must be a Canadian, eh?
Fucking right,
Yeah,
eh?
hey, buddy.
Yeah, and then our day in San Francisco, we were walking around feeling so good, and people are in there like literally like Canada Goose equivalent, and they're like freezing, and it's 15 degrees,
Yeah.
and we're feeling like, oh, cute. But yeah, we kind of booked it down. We took 2 weeks to get to San Francisco, trying to find and kind of chase the heat. But those are awesome. Like, I love that coastline.
Oh my
It's
god,
beautiful.
Oregon coast is. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Tofino. Like, if you haven't been to Tofino, that's like where this whole thing started, and I love it. Our first trip together as a couple was a month after we met.
Sundara.
Oh, never mind. Second trip as a couple. I don't even remember yesterday. So, but literally, our second trip as a couple, we went to Tofino in this van before I had souped it all up, and it was like the best thing ever. So, but what I'm trying to say is the Oregon coast is kind of like a massive stretch of Tofino, but it's
cliffs. Like
Yeah.
you're driving on
Yeah.
like 50-foot cliffs.
massive
Is
cliffs.
it full of
Beautiful.
granola people?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's definitely granola people out there, but there's definitely a lot of retirees on the coast. It's a big, like, all the way down. We couldn't believe, like, how many retiree people were there. It's definitely, like, an older style town. There's definitely people like us there, but it's not, like, super bumping all the way down.
There's no one like you guys there.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're one of a kind.
But
So,
yeah.
You guys were traveling Oregon, and then how your guys' final destination was Los Cabos.
Los
That was the
Cabos. So
farthest you went.
we hit Oregon coast,
Yeah.
and then we did all of the Cali coast, which was awesome. Like, we did the number 1, which is the long way, by the way. You can drop down the number 5. It's like cutting directly through California. You save probably about 6 hours of driving, but it's definitely way more beautiful just to take that number 1 highway. And there's some of the most amazing spots there, like Santa Cruz, Big Sur. Where else?
Carmel by the Sea. Was
Yeah,
beautiful.
I mean, and it's great, but for us, the hardest part of our trip was definitely the first month and a half, when we were in Oregon and in California, because I don't know if it's just a new thing, but both states are very negative about people. Just like we call living in your car, it's called overlanding, and they're very negative and against people overlanding in both of those states. So it was really hard sometimes to find a place to sleep.
And the Canadian dollar is shit compared
Yeah,
to the US
and
dollar. So
literally
Pretty garb right
running
now.
through our funds
to get
like
into an RV
nobody's
park
business.
is $50 US. That's the average cost. So you're
cheap,
trying
bro. It's
you're
cheap.
Nothing's
for
cheap.
$10 more you can get into a Motel 6. So
Yeah.
and you're not using anything but like their space. I'm not using your water, your electricity. Like, we're fully sufficient.
Yeah.
So it was like, fuck, I could literally do this on the side of the road, but your state won't let me, kind of thing. So we were trying as much as possible to find free places, but sometimes like we would park and a cop would tap on your window and be like, "Yeah, you can't do this here," and we'd kind of have to spend the night in an RV park. But yeah,
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a little visitor. Who's that?
I don't know.
Just saw it.
A little run up. But so you guys had troubles doing that. Did you guys have any other troubles like figuring out like how you're gonna get places? Like, did you guys run into any like severe altercations that kind of stuck with you, like dealing with people or just like anything in the sense of that?
Most of the people we met were pretty awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you get a bad vibes from people, and we kind of left. The big issue was our old van.
Yeah, I mean, like, in terms of altercations, yeah, we did meet some amazing people. Like, our 3rd day into the trip, I was driving down the Oregon coast, and I saw this dude taking photos. This like guy in his maybe 50s.
Yeah.
And he's taking a photo, and he can't see that I'm looking at him, and he legit does like a 180 spin to look back at me and like looks at me, and I'm like looking at him as I'm driving, and I like slam on the brakes and turn around, and I like run out of the car. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he's like, "Yo, I'm so glad you stopped." And I was like, "What do you do?" And he's like, "I'm a photographer." I'm like, "Cool, like I would love to take some photos with you." And this guy ended up being an absolute gem. He invited us over for dinner with him and his wife.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, they let us stay at their place.
So
We had a
weird.
bed.
They had
So
a bed.
weird.
Shower.
They made us food.
Oh, they should've-
we
could've
got
totally, like,
hammered
killed us,
with them.
but-
Oh yeah, we were like, either we're gonna have the best time ever, or we're gonna get axe murdered. But this is something you
Perfect.
do on the road.
I think
You
we
just
left
gotta-
the like
Yeah.
window open slightly just in case. we were like ready
yeah.
to go. But
Little exit route.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that was most of the experiences we had with people. Like, people were genuinely good on the road, whether we were in the States or in Mexico. I mean, I think honestly that like I felt safer in Mexico than I did in most parts of the US. I thought it was going to be the total opposite, but because I'd been to the big cities in Mexico, and there's somewhat crime, but it's mostly resorts, so you're safe. So I thought, when you're outside of a resort town, it's like the Wild West, but it's not. Like, people are really kind.
And that's where we saw most of the people doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
Like everybody was living out of a van there. So you become
Oh,
part of
really?
this community versus like battling people coming through. Like Santa Barbara, it's literally illegal to like sleep in your car. Like not even
Really?
live in, like sleep in overnight.
Yeah. I mean, with COVID especially, we notice a lot of people in the US, like in California especially, living in their car. Like you'll just see a dude with all of his possessions in his car. It looks like a hoarder's car version. It's like hoarder's car unlocked, but literally they're living in his car and he's sleeping there, and it's like everywhere. It's like every 20th car is one of these cars. So yeah, it's definitely something they're cracking down on, but it's like, we're not those people. We're actually trying to like live and do our thing, and like, you know. So I mean, that was kind of California, and then we entered into the Baja through Tijuana.
Yeah.
But I
were
mean,
there any cities or places that stuck with you guys that were just like unbelievable, as in like the people were fun, the food was good, the experience was just like out of this world? Would you say it was better than here? Or?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Quick to answer.
I'm gonna list off. Yeah, I mean, Van's awesome, to get me wrong, but there are a lot of more amazing places out there that are a tenth of the price, and you can do so much more. So I'm a big fan of like doing a lot with a little, and that's why these places were kind of my favorite. But yeah, for sure, as soon as I hit Mexico, I was in love, just because the States is pretty expensive. There were some amazing spots. Cape Kiwanda, view wise, amazing. Like beautiful surfing beaches, white sand beaches, amazing cliffs. Like the shrubbery and trees are great. Cape Kiwanda in Oregon, great. California, what were we thinking?
I mean, personally, I'm a huge fan of LA. I love
Oh,
the
of course
energy
you
there.
are.
Like,
Oh God.
but we ended up, we spent, and this was interesting. We managed to spend 2 nights for free, like right out on the Santa Monica Pier. Basically, we were like
Nice.
steps away from
How'd that
it.
happen?
We like pulled in. We were supposed to be in Malibu, which we didn't love, and it was kind of getting weird vibes from like being in that van. And so we just kept driving, and then we pulled over because it was getting late, and we slept there just fine for one night, and just did it again the next night. Like it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Where are we talking about? Sorry?
LA.
LA. Oh yeah. LA. No, I definitely wanted to drive through LA because I'm just not a big fan of huge cities. But yeah, I mean, California, like good spots coming down. Like Big Sur was awesome. So Big Sur's like, some people kind of consider it a place, but it's kind of like a stretch of road. Big Sur is kind of like a stretch of road where you can see all these amazing things on the coast, and it's like one of the only stretches on that number one that we felt like every pull out we could camp out and no one really cared.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But really, like, the places that blew me away were in Mexico. Like, we crossed the border, we came through Tijuana, and by the way, when you cross the Mexican border in a car, it's not like papers please, passports. Like, the highway just keeps going. Like, it's just
There's no one
there's
that stops
no one
you,
to
it's
stop
just
you.
you're
Like
in.
there's a big highway, it does like a big S, so you go a little bit slower, and there's like federales on each side, but no one's like, you don't
police, yeah.
drive to a booth and like show your passport. Like I could
So you
literally
have no, like, we were in Mexico for a few days, and we realized we had no like legal proof that we'd entered the country legally, meaning that we can leave the country legally. And so we had to figure
Damn.
all of that out. But
Yeah.
yeah, we literally drove through. We had our passports ready. We had everything ready. And all they wanted to do was all they wanted to do was check out the bike on the back.
Yeah.
Took 30 seconds, and they're like, waved us
But
through.
like they just pulled us over because we're like a heat looking van. We're like a hippie van with like black tubes and like a bike on the back. So we were like the one car pulled out of like 300 cars going down this highway. And they like
Were you driving?
Yeah, I was driving, so you know, I was a little scared. But yeah, like besides that, I get now the term where people are like, you know, those cowboys that make a run for the Mexican border. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, but once you get to the border, like if you're in trouble, like they're gonna need your passport, your papers, you're screwed. But they don't need anything. Like if I'm ever in trouble, I am hauling ass.
Not to the system, hey?
Yeah, no,
we
not at all.
So we ended up figuring it out. Like, we just went to another port and got all of our papers, which is lucky because we did end up flying home, which is.
But yeah, you do
literally
have to
can't
pay
leave.
though. If like I do want to keep some things educational for anybody watching like that wants to travel. Like going over the border and you have to get like a tourist visa, it's gonna cost you about like $100 Canadian.
No, it's 28 US each, but your
I have no
airline
idea what
usually
I'm talking
covers it.
about.
So when you fly,
Educational people. Keep it educated.
but when you're flying, your airline always covers it. So we just did that. But a guy that we had met along, I think we just met him like 4 times throughout. He'd been in Mexico for 4 months.
Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
have any of that. So
Yeah,
he was like,
no idea.
like he had no idea. And so we were chatting with him. He's like, so I've been like illegally here. Like anyone had pulled him over, he'd have no documentation
Yeah,
of being
like that's a
here
big thing down there.
legally.
Like you can get away with it, but if
Oh,
you get
totally.
pulled over, like the first thing federales ask for, they'll be like, "I need your," especially if you're white, like if you're a gringa, like they'll be
Yep.
like, "I need your papers right now." And if
Yeah.
you don't have them, it's like Mexican prison, like that. Like seriously, we've talked to people that it's happened to, and they're just like, "You're coming with us." Like you like because you could literally be like an illegal criminal right? If
Yeah.
you don't have your papers. So
Yeah.
Could be.
Could be.
Jesus, that's so wild. You know, in Canada we have so many rules. You know.
Yeah.
So like just to have that freedom to like enter another country with no
No questions
documentation,
asked.
proof, no questions.
Nothing. Yeah.
It's so weird
It's
to us, eh?
so
But-
weird.
But back to the question. So we drove over the border and we went through Tijuana, and like we had read a bunch of Baja books, and every book was like, skip Tijuana. Just like
Don't stop.
Just like tail ass through Tijuana. Just don't stop. Don't look at anybody. Don't breathe. Just go. So we're going and we're ripping through Tijuana. We're like in the heart of this slum in Tijuana, and our van dies. Like dies in the middle of the road, and like on either side I'm seeing like one like tattooed Mexican gang like blasting their music, and then like slums, and they're just like looking at the two of us, and I'm like trying to get her going. I'm like, come on, and like they're like looking at us like, you have about 2 minutes before we start jacking your shit. I'm like, like trying to get it going.
Like in California, our van looked run down. No one would even touch it.
Yeah.
We drove into Tijuana, and it was like a
was like a
fucking
Bugatti,
Lamborghini.
yeah,
like
little-
No, seriously, yeah.
anyone would come after our van,
Yeah.
and we were like,
Damn.
So that was stressful. So, and then I got it started, thank God, and then we booked it into Ensenada, which is like 2 hours from the border, and that is like my first take at an amazing Mexican city that I would recommend anybody to go to. Ensenada is a beautiful place. It's like it has one of the biggest ports in Mexico. Most people don't even know the city of Ensenada, but cruise ships come through, big ships come through. It's quite a large city. Beautiful coastline. There's tons of wine country, like right up in the hills. It's crazy. So like beautiful
Val de
winery.
Guadalupe is where you can go. It's like an hour outside, but there's full on like wineries. Like you'd never expect that in the Baja,
Wow.
but yeah.
But
wineries.
we were reading our little book, and it said to go to this restaurant called Manzilla, and it said, you know, it's fine dining. Like it's a
It's like
fine
all,
dining
like,
restaurant.
The most amount of dollar signs.
Yeah, they had the most amount of dollar signs, and you know, we wanted to celebrate being in Mexico, so we were like, you know, we made it this far. Let's go for a fine dining experience. So we get like dressed up, we roll up, and we park in their parking lot, and we walk in, and we sit down, and I'm expecting like, you know, like the menu to be pretty expensive, and this is the first time that we had seen pesos, so I'm looking at the menu, and it's like a full like steak and potatoes with like shrimp was like 190 pesos. And I'm thinking like, ooh, that's pricey, because I'm thinking like 190 like Canadian dollars,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like your brain just automatically does that. I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, this is kind of pricey. Like I don't know if we should, you know, order a lot. And then I do the conversion on my phone, and 190 for like a big meal with like a prime rib and lobster and everything was like like $11 Canadian. I was like, oh shit. And we just went off, and that was like, it was some of the best food we had on the trip. And I think our bill was like $40 Canadian, and we had like oysters, lobsters, steak. Like it was awesome.
Damn.
And that's where like it hit me. I was like, this would have cost like $200 Canadian back home. Like we had drinks, everything. And that's why I was like, this is awesome. And the next day we woke up and we got two tacos for 20 pesos, which is $1.
Yeah.
And they were delicious. They were like the best tacos I've ever had. And that's why I low key, like I love Ensenada. So, but yeah, that's a great spot. Tulum is a great spot. We went to Tulum, did like a whole video. You can check out one of my reels, like what your average day in Tulum will look like. Cenotes, bunch of other stuff. But Tulum is beautiful. Probably, I'm trying to buy a house there right now. I love it. It's probably where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. Where else would you say? Oh, San Ignacio, great little town, super, super awesome town. There's not a lot to do, but there is a natural spring that comes up out of the ground and creates like a 2-kilometer river, and then the water just goes back into the ground. So you're like in the middle of the
Beautiful,
desert.
like, little mini oasis.
Yeah, you're in the middle of the desert. There's no like big trees. Everything looks super dead. And then all of a sudden there's this like little town on this river, and there's like the most palm trees and beautiful shrubbery you've ever seen, and everyone there is just fantastic. So those are kind of my go-tos.
Yo, so you guys are living in your van this whole time. Like,
Yeah.
how are you guys showering and using the bathroom? Like, how does that all work? Like, do you guys just like frequently stop and like try and get into places, or?
I mean, we did like half of the time in the States we spent in RV parks, and then the other half were just pulled off on the side of the road. But we did a lot of like, the best thing I can recommend is like Planet Fitness, or do like a membership, because the amount of drop-ins we do at the gym that also have showers and bathrooms and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's where we were typically showering. It was like every other day, maybe. So that was most of the U.S. That was super easy. Like drop-in gyms were like our favorite thing. Mexico, that's a whole other story. Like there's nothing like that. And the RV parks are very, very minimal. Like it's just bathrooms.
Yeah, it's literally just like a porta potty.
Damn.
At those Mexican places.
Did you guys ever have any problems with not making it to the bathroom kind of ordeal, or? Yeah.
I did not.
Can we hear a little bit about it?
Anybody watching? I got my poo on lockdown, okay? But
I got it down to a fine
Dude,
When
tone.
you're shitting 5 liters of water.
okay, that's anyways. Wes can throw that video up if he wants to.
That will not be going up anywhere.
I mean, like she honestly, for her in the States, sometimes like it was a little bit hard to find a bathroom. Like
Yeah.
she's religious about she has to use the bathroom before she goes to sleep. Or like I'm like whatever. I'm like I can.
Yeah, we all have our things.
we all have our things, exactly, right? So that was one of her things, and it was like it was a challenge, man. Like
But I got better.
no, you got better for sure.
You guys never invested in like one of those like those little seats that you put on the ground with the little bag?
Oh, trust
Pretty
me,
much like a
dude.
mobile shitter.
I had a whole conversation with
No,
her.
you said let's put a bathroom in the van. And the van is so small, so you'd literally be like pooping in front of the other person.
That's unreal.
No, it would have been great. It would have saved
That would
us.
have been great. So much time.
Yeah,
and effort.
so much time and effort and all that. I asked her specifically. I was like, I know you have to use the bathroom. Would you like me to put a bathroom in the van or get something like what you just said? And she's like, no, I'm a good squatter. Like, don't worry, I squat all the time. And I'm like, okay, are you sure? Because once we leave, I can't just throw a bathroom in this van. And she's like, no, I'm totally on it. And I bought her like a pee cup, like a woman's like,
Yeah.
you stick it on and like it's.
Did we use this pea cup?
Wait.
yeah.
Literally. So I buy this thing. It shows up at our front door on Amazon, and her mom is over at our place, and they both laugh at me. They're like laughing. They're like, she would never use this. Like, what do you think women are? Every day that thing was used, like twice, man. I'm literally like, yeah, okay. Like I know what I'm doing. So yeah.
I forgot how cold it was outside.
They're just so quick to roast you, man. I
No,
mean,
absolutely. Like, who would use this? And I'm like, oh, first day on the trip, she's like, where's the pea cup? Where is it? I'm like, oh my God, it's in the car. Like, yeah.
oh my god.
Anyways, but yeah, I mean, besides that, like we showered off the van. Like we have 2 water tanks on
Yeah,
the top,
yeah.
so we fill them up and
That's
they
that
get
like
warm.
PVC pipe.
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
Shit.
So like
Yes,
we
we'd
can
have,
take
like,
like
a
3
shower.
showers.
We'd have like shower in the ocean, and then we'd like come out and just rinse off with like fresh
Nice.
water. So
Yeah.
that was kind of our Mexico. That's what we figured out.
Yeah,
for
I
that,
think
which
I
was
went
pretty
like
sweet.
3 weeks without using soap. I just like
Oh, really?
I ran
Soap.
into the
Just
ocean.
went full caveman.
Yeah, and I mean like everybody like I met a dude and he was just like, who needs soap when you have the ocean? And I was like, oh my God, I never thought about
Oh, the
that.
salty ocean.
So I
not
just-
really
yeah.
good for the skin. Though,
Yeah, but then
eh?
you just rinse off a little bit of fresh water from the van, and then you throw a little bit of lotion on, and you're good to go.
Next
So-
thing you know, you're like a baby. So, did you guys, after this whole entire experience, did you guys walk away with any personal development skills? Anything that you like? Did you guys come home and you feel like you view a couple things a little differently, or you guys feel like you can carry yourselves differently?
Like for myself, I love to plan things. Like over the top, I just want to make sure everything's there. And I think I got like, I know by the end we like missed our flight in Tulum. We're like, no, don't have a place to sleep tonight. We'll figure it out all. And like I felt good about that. And so I'm
And
glad.
that's kind of why we work, because I'm like the exact opposite. Like I'm like drop me in a city. I don't need a hotel booked. I'll find a hostel and then I'll figure my shit out in the morning. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I rather do that, because sometimes we'll plan a little bit too far in advance, and then we'll stay at a hotel, or we'll find this place, and then like we meet people in town and they're like, oh, this is the spot, and it's like, so if we didn't plan it, we would have had a better time. So
Yeah.
But a flip side of that, like, she does all the papers and all that stuff. Like, I'd probably be in
course she
jail.
does.
Like,
Of course
if she
she
wasn't
does.
with me, like, I'd probably be in jail. Like, I wouldn't have the prep papers. Like, I'd be stuck in some like airport holding thing because I didn't have the right PCR test or whatever. Like, but like that's just how I travel. Like, but yeah, she got a lot better at just flying by the seat of her pants.
yeah.
Nice.
I'm happy with that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, for me, like I thought I kind of had like a good grip on travel, and I was like, this is what travel looks like. But I just, my skills kind of got fine tuned, and I got more and more comfortable with everything I was doing in terms of speaking to people, the language, the cultures, like everything. Like I I really was trying to blend in and almost be as like, you know, especially when we're in Mexico, like as Mexican as possible. Like I was kind of the point of it. And so that for me was a skill that I wanted to take on, like kind of being a chameleon and just blending in. Like I didn't want to be a tourist. I'm like,
Did you have an alias name?
me?
Yeah.
Senior Chang.
Nice.
But I wanted to blend in. So I think I got a lot better at that. And the other thing for me was just growth in terms of my comfortability. Like we had the van blow up, like it blew a tire in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't have any money to fix this fan. We were like super broke because my card had gotten skimmed.
Did you like hit a bump, or did this thing just fucking blow?
No, this thing just blew. Like this tire just blew up.
Down.
Like,
Those are the best surprises, eh?
I'm just
driving.
And, like, the van's already like janky as is. Like the alignment's off. Like literally, like if you're going down the highway at like 50 and you let go of the wheel, it's like doing this. Like you're just like, so the wheel explodes, and I'm like, oh my god! I like rein it back in so we don't rip off the highway. And yeah, I had to limp it into the next town. I had to fix everything myself. I dug through a tire pile and was like, can I please have this for free? Like I was like, estuve gratis, and they were like, sí, gringo. Like I was literally like anyways, so I fixed all the ball joint and the tire and whatnot. So that was cool for me to see, like, you know, even though you're fucked, you have no money, there's always a way. Like there's always a way. Make some friends. And like, and then the last one was like when I don't think I've ever fallen in love with a place so much like Tulum that I would miss a flight and not be able to afford another one and just stay and just say, hey, I'm gonna figure this out. But that was really cool for me to find like my one true love as a place. Like I love Vancouver with all my heart. I just knew that I could never, like, I don't really want to think I'm gonna live here much longer just because of the way things are going price wise and everything. And Tulum is that new spot for me, and I'm like, it feels good to know where I'm gonna end up, kind of
Tulum's thing. Pretty Americanized, is it?
It's like 2 hours from Cancun.
Okay,
so you have that like safety factor, but it's been doing it, like it's just kind of got found like 10 years ago, so it's been doing its own thing for so long. And it's so like, it's just got this energy to it that is like undescribable. It's so fantastic. That's
exactly it. I mean, like there are definitely a lot of tourists, but it's not like as much tourists as like Cancun or Puerto Vallarta. Like there's an equal amount of like Mexican people and tourists. Like it's it's not like there's just a bunch of Mexicans serving the tourists kind of thing. Like people, like a lot of Mexican people live there and whatnot. So, but yeah, so that place is just unreal. But yeah, it's not super Americanized, but it's very jungle, Thailand, tropical vibey kind of place there. Yeah,
it looked super cool. I was seeing you guys' story as you guys kept posting. You guys posted a lot.
Yeah,
kept everyone updated. But Tulum definitely looked pretty fucking sweet.
It was some of the best food I've ever had in my life.
Oh yeah,
it's also like a culinary hub, because it really was this kind of like secret place, like until maybe like 15 years ago. And then it just drew the attention of like all these people.
Europe got a flight direct, like you can go from like London, so you have a lot of European kind of influence. Like, honestly,
huge.
More than American probably there.
Yeah.
Like,
really?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Half
so
the
many
people we
from
met
Europe
were from like London and Spain.
Yeah,
and, like,
all over.
So cool.
Wow.
But yeah, it was just such an amazing place. Like I definitely want to go back.
How long were you guys in Tulum for?
We ended up being there for 11 days, and we were originally, I think, supposed to be there. Like we flew on Monday, and we were supposed to leave again on Friday. We had like 3 full days there.
Nice.
And we just were like, no, that's not enough time.
I saw that you guys were like renting scooters there, and there was like some like music festival, it looked like.
Yeah, so Tulum is like, the way I kind of describe it to people, Tulum is like Mykonos in Greece, like the island of Mykonos.
You'd have to describe that as well for the people.
Oh, okay. I mean, sorry. Anyways, Tulum is like Mykonos, and Mykonos is this awesome island where there's like tons of clubs and there's so much to do, but it's like in the last 10 years became a playground for the ultra rich. Like we went there and we were just not having a good time, because it was like, just to get in was 30 euros, and then like a beer was like 20 euros, and I was like, that's like 40 Canadian dollars, and people are just throwing money. Like it's just the ultra rich. And like I said, I'm a guy who likes to do a lot with a little, so I was not having a good time. But Tulum is like, it has everything that Mykonos has, but at like Mexico prices. and it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful, and you can ride ATVs on the street and scooters on the street, and it's like
it was cheaper than like towns that we were in Baja, like random little towns
absolutely.
on the side of the road.
Yeah.
This place was cheaper and like well done, felt safe, like everything about it was
considering
just
that you can buy a 2-bedroom in Tulum, like pretty close to the beach and close to the town. 2 bedrooms going to run you $60K, like a 2-bedroom with a pool on the roof. Yeah, American, but still, like, it's beautiful. Like, it's a 2-bedroom, 1,200 square foot place, like, for $60K. Like, that's like less than some people's down deposits for their first 1-bedroom studio square here. You know what I mean? Not even. Like, it's like most people are putting like $100,000 down here, and they're like, you know, and then they got to pay their mortgage off.
Suffering for 40 years.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously. So that's why I was, and we met so many people our age down there that were saying the same thing, and they just bought property down there. They were like, I bought a plot, I put a sea can on it, I live here. Like, I did that for $10,000. I'm like, oh my God, like, seriously. So yeah, that's a place that I definitely think will blow up for sure. But, you know, get in now if you can, 100%.
Yeah.
So you guys flew home, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So where the fuck's the van?
You can answer this one.
So yeah, we were looking at our funds at the beginning of April, and kind of realizing that the van had a number of issues, and realizing how much gas was going to cost us because we were watching gas prices go up. And then we also kind of realized, like, okay, so right now in Vancouver, it's getting beautiful. Like, this is the best time to be in Vancouver, is from, you know, May to September. And so we kind of made the decision economically, and also because we ended up staying in Tulum, that we were going to leave the van in Cabo and we're going to go back when it gets shitty here. So it is at the Park and Fly in Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Like, are you guys paying weekly or daily, monthly, and how long are you planning on leaving it there for?
We did 6 months. 6 months to park it there was $400 US. Which is not that bad.
That's not that bad at all, but that's just like,
considering it was going to cost us
in gas.
2,000 USD in fuel just to get home. So we were kind of like, all right, we're going to come back when we have money to fix it and drive it back. But now I'm thinking of just leaving it there. I'm just going to be a snowbird. I'm just going to go live in my van and
periodically just rip down there
in the winter and whatnot, and be like, yeah, I'm going to be that guy that's like, yeah, I got a house in Cabo.
and a motorcycle.
Yeah, and a motorcycle. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where the van is. Yeah.
Nice.
Doing its thing.
So
what's your guys' plans for now that you're home? You guys got home yesterday night, was it?
Yeah, we landed last night at midnight. Yeah.
You guys got home. But before you guys came home, actually, you guys were in fucking Palm Springs. You guys were in Coachella.
Yeah.
How was Coachella? Awesome. Explain to the people how Coachella was.
Oh, man.
It was good, man. Like, we landed in Palm Springs, and Palm Springs is like a different type of place. Like, it really is a place for...
It's like fake.
It's like yeah.
There's not a piece of garbage. It's beautiful. It's hot. All the homes are these like picturesque white, like one bedroom. They're just large, and they all have pools in the back. Like,
it looks like what you would imagine like Nuketown looks like in Call of Duty. Like, that's literally what the entire town looks like, is Nuketown. Like,
except
it looks like
no broken, like
yeah, like the Nuketown before it gets nuked. Like,
yeah.
But it literally looks like a whole like baby boomers 60s. Like, everybody has a white home with a pool, and everybody drives 2 cars, and you know, like the whole town looks like that. It looks fake.
Everyone goes there to retire.
Yeah.
There's just casinos and homes out there. That's
all
Palm Springs.
But it's like it's not like
also in the center of these huge mountains.
Yeah.
And these mountains are also like rock.
Yeah.
Like, it's very different than Vancouver mountains, where it's like lush and green and covered in snow. It's just
desert.
Like,
it's in a massive
It's just
valley.
desert.
Literally desert.
It's desert. And yeah, Palm Springs was cool. So we got there. We got a nice like Airbnb. We're kind of just looking to relax a little bit, and we had tickets to Coachella. And this is actually super funny. So the Friday night, I had met a guy there that was chilling with us. We had like a little bit of a pre. It was like our first night, and most people didn't see this on our story for good reason. But Friday night we land, and this guy's like, "Yo, like, do you want to do some acid?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, man. I'd love to do some acid. Like, I love acid." And he's like, "Cool." And he brings out this bottle, and they're like drops. They're not tabs. And I'm like, "Okay, cool, sure. Like, I'll do a drop." And he's like, "Cool." And I like stick out my tongue. And he's like, "No, in your eyes." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll do anything once."
I'm cool.
So I like open my eyelid, like fully open, like looking up. And he drops a drop in my eye, and I start blinking, and I'm like, oh, it's like an eye drop. He's like, yeah, it's cool, man. And I'm talking to him after, and I'm like, yeah, you know, like I did ask quite a bit as a kid, and blah blah. He's like, oh, these are pretty weak. You're probably gonna need a second drop. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, cool. And little did I know that this guy is just gonzo. This guy is just 3 sheets to the wind with with this. So literally, I open my eye up again, and it's like this little squeeze bottle, and he's like, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm like, dude, it was like 10 drops, bro, in my eye, and I'm just like, and I'm trying to like rub it out, and he's like, oh, don't do that, mate. And I'm like, why? He's like, you're wasting it. He's like, I'm gonna die. It's like this Aussie guy. And I'm looking at Alex, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I might have just ruined our first night of Coachella. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I think I just did like 12 tabs of acid. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, how did you just do that? I'm like, long story short, this dude squirted 12 tabs into my eye. And she's like, am I supposed to understand what that means? Like, but literally,
I definitely still don't. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, no, within 30 minutes, I felt like I was on 3 tabs within 30, and usually like a tab takes like 2 hours to hit me, and I'm just like, oh my god. Within an hour, I'm starting to go blind, like fully blind. I'm like walking around, and like everything is like big blobs. Like I can't see people. Like I can't see their faces. I can just see like the outlines of their body.
Okay.
And within like 2 hours, I'm fully blind and losing function of my limbs, man. She like drags me into a hammock, and I'm like, eyes wide open, can't see a thing. She's like trying to calm me down, and
it's just you two at this point.
Yeah, because everybody had left for the festival.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm supposed to see Harry Styles tonight. it was bad. So
you sure it was acid? It's just,
it definitely felt like acid, but like the most acid I've ever done. And I've done
like a blinding amount of acid.
Like a blinding amount of acid. Yeah, like I was legitimately like blind. So that was like 12 hours of that, and then I came down. It was like, oh my god, it was one of those highs where you get so high that you think you're gonna be high forever.
Alex, what were you doing? What happened?
I mean, it was like, I've seen this guy do 4 types of drugs and be fine and more sober than anyone. And
give me the drugs.
When he like took my hand and like squeezed it, and I could see like the color slowly coming out of his face, I was like, okay, this guy's done a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And like, he's not ever one to back away from a party. So when he said like, I'm so sorry, but I can't go.
Fair enough. We don't condone drug use,
Absolutely
by the way.
not. It's terrible.
Absolutely
Don't do it.
Horrible.
Please don't.
Use responsibly.
But yeah, no, when he said that, like, it's not like anyone else who's like, I can't go. You're like, fuck, you're fine. You'll be fine in an hour. When he said that, I was like, okay, we're staying here tonight.
Well, I started walking to the festival because I was like, I'm not missing Coachella. Like I'm here. Everything aligned perfectly for us to be here. And like, I couldn't see. So I'm like, have her dragging me by the hand. And then I start to lose function of like my arms and legs. And she's like, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't think I can crawl there. Like, we need to go home. So she like limps me home. And yeah, so that was the first night. After that, sobered up, did her thing. Went to Coachella, slipped on the pool deck the next day, like
nice.
Cracked my head open, which is super not fun.
I saw that. You're saying like, I'm here, but I got fucked. Yeah. Like, you like slipped on the side of the pool.
Yeah, I slipped on the pool deck, cracked my head open. Again, she had to take care of me, so kind of ruined
Mama
her.
Alex running in deep, eh?
Always here.
But then like we got to the hospital, they were like checking me out, and then Flume was coming on. I was like, I'm gonna refuse your service. I need to go. And they're like, it's really not good for you to go to a concert right now. I was like, I'm not missing Flume. And Flume was a bit of a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie. It was,
really?
Yeah, there was a huge thread online, kind of talking about how much of a disappointment he was. I mean, I feel like some artists go to Coachella and they're just like, I'm gonna do what I always do. Like I'm myself. And some artists, and that's what like me as a person wants to see. Like when I think of Flume, I want Flume. I don't want like Coachella watered down version of Flume playing the songs he thinks that everyone's gonna like. Like I want to get freaky into your deep stuff, So he played like a lot of his songs that he thought everybody would like, and most people were disappointed because it was like, yeah, it was, and he really wasn't lively. It was the second weekend we went, and he was kind of like, on his keyboard and he was like, Coachella. Like, you know, like it was so. But
Is Flume just a single guy or a girl?
yeah, it's a single dude. Yeah. But
he brought out like 12 different acts for
Oh,
like,
really?
like, every singer he had on was live.
yeah, because he does
Whoa.
he
Which was
produces
really
the music and then he gets usually females or males to sing in them. So he brought out all like 12 different females and they were holding it down. Like he was not like vibing.
Maybe he was just
whatsoever.
trying to put the spotlight on them for
Yeah,
once.
possibly, but yeah, they were holding it down for sure. So
Nice.
and then third day, we went at like 2 because we're like, we've missed so much of Coachella. I'm gonna get like a full Coachella day in because most people don't go to Coachella till like 7 or 8, which blows my mind because I'm like, it's from 12 to 2 a.m. So there's so much good music. So we get there at like 2 and we're like so excited. It was like 37 degrees and dry. It was so hot, and we were like, now we get why people don't go to Coachella till the sun goes
Until
down.
like it's
Wow.
cold.
What time does the sun go down?
It like the sun sets at like 7:15, but because of the like desert, like 6 o'clock, 6:30, you're kind of feeling
Well, because
like,
of the mountains, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Okay.
sun will go down.
So
Yeah.
what is it like when the sun drops? Because it's the desert, it gets immensely colder. Like
yeah,
it
it'll
definitely
drop like
to what?
15 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
you
10,
drop
15.
like 15, 20 degrees as soon as the sun
Yeah.
goes down. But that's
Wow.
like perfect because you're
Yeah.
surrounded
like eight-
by
it's like 18
600,000
degrees.
good for us Canadians. Nothing
Yeah.
over 20.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, with the amount of people, like you don't really feel it. But obviously, when it's the heat and the people, that's when like everything just gets sticky, and it was so dusty. So that people are just kicking up dirt, and you're inhaling dirt, and people are like hacking up a lung, and I like blew my nose that night, and it was just like dirt.
Yeah.
Dust.
Like
Yeah.
it was
hot.
disgusting.
Yeah.
It was so
And I
bad,
honestly,
but-
like, I did it. I can say that I did it, but I don't think I would ever do it again because I'm like, I'm going to a festival to get like really wrecked. I'm not going to a festival to like wear my fanciest outfit and take
No Instagram
photos.
pics?
No, I don't have a single Instagram pic from
well, yeah,
Coachella
because you
like,
were drunk and on your ass most of the day.
yeah, that's what a festival should be. You know, correct me if
Fair
I'm wrong.
enough.
Correct
No,
me.
I-
Yeah, you know what I mean.
You're correct.
If you're not with me on that, that's cool. But like a festival,
goes
to
both
me-
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Festival. For
I feel
me
like
is,
girls definitely go to dress up in their little outfits and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like,
And then
that's
like every
cool.
guy you pass is like some frat dude blacked out on Molly or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
pretty
me.
It was like, I have to say, like it is worth the hype. Like that festival has so much going into it. Like
What's
the
the
Yeah.
attendance?
600,000 people.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So also
Why?
the
Like,
most amount
how?
of people I've been around live music, like it was all happening at once after 2.5 years of like being
Yeah.
isolated from people, right?
How do you
So, like,
comfortably host a venue for 600K people?
also,
Dude,
I'm
it's
still
not even
trying
the
to
biggest
figure out-
festival in the world. There's a festival that's 3 million.
Yeah,
man.
like
That-
that's
Yeah.
not even
How?
existent, but-
Crazy. Yeah.
How do the airports deal with that? Come on.
I'm still trying to figure out what actually Coachella is for the other fucking 50 weeks of the year.
Like what the festival grounds
it's
are. Like I don't
huge.
know what that
Like, you
is.
walk
It's
3
massive.
kilometers. Like once you
Just
get
to
into,
get there, dude.
yeah, once you get
Yeah.
into the first gate, like you like hit your wristband 3 times.
Yeah.
So the first gate, and then it's like 3 kilometers before you even into the festival.
Yeah, like
it's
you're doing like a
huge,
Just
this
dead
property.
you're doing
ground.
like a low key marathon, like just to get into Coachella, around Coachella, and then out. We tracked 35,000 steps in like the one day that we were there.
Holy
Like
shit.
it's crazy. We did a hike for 7 hours on the top of this mountain, and we only did like 20,000 steps. Like it was, yeah, we did more steps at Coachella than a 7-hour hike. Like
Yeah.
legit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Coachella not worth for you guys to go back, but
I would-
definitely worth the experience to go once.
I honestly would do it again, like if we
Planned
as
it a little
group
better?
had like our shit together, and we got an
Yeah.
Airbnb, and we were going at like 6 o'clock, and we were spending the day like because there is some cool shit to do around Palm Springs. Like you can make a good trip out of it, and then because the headliners are phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Like
They
they
are
put
really
on
good.
the show of their
Yeah.
fucking
If you at
lives.
least get to see them instead of taking care of people that can't see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Doja Cat brought on Tyga and fucking like Sweetie, like she just brought out like 3 people in her
Yeah.
set, and like
Yeah.
it just like it is worth those 3 headliners typically.
Damn.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I would
stuck,
do it again.
I
but
stuck
once.
mostly at the DJ stage and saw like I got to see Duke Dumont and like Duck Sauce and like I really like EDM and the people that go to the EDM shows because they're usually like there to have a good time, and if you want to go to the front, it's not like we went to go see Doja Cat and we got there like an hour early, and so we're like pretty close. I mean, we're within the first like 10-15 rows of people, and we're thinking, we're looking back and it's a massive field, and we're like, there's no way. Doja Cat starts and we like look back and it's like at least 3/4 of a kilometer of people, man. Like
It's an ocean of people.
An ocean, because the people just started like kind of pushing their way through and like getting really aggressive, and we were like sardined. Like I wish we were at the back because I didn't think it was going to fill up that much, but it was like, yeah, it was probably of the 600,000 people, it was probably 400,000 of them all went to this one stage.
No Travis Scott casualty type concert.
I mean, we were looking around at that whole place, and like we were like kind of like thinking about that the whole time, because it's
Really?
like there's so many people there, man. Like it could totally
It is
be
kinda scary, eh?
Yeah, man.
But
Absolutely.
like that's what I do say about it being done well, because there's breathing room within it. Like obviously when you're walking with all the people, it's like, fuck, this is a shitload of people, but there is breathing room, and you're doing like, okay, like it's a very well done festival. I do have to say, I would do it probably again.
I probably wouldn't do it again, just because like for me, like I go to a festival to have fun versus take photos, like I said. So
you would definitely conclude that Coachella is for photos.
for most people that go, like I go to festivals to meet like-minded people, and like I'm not really like, I like to take photos of like scenery and the places I'm at, yeah, sure, to convey, like to show people like that, you know, life could be better at other places, but like
The Riffraff way.
the Riffraff way, yeah, exactly. But like I don't know, like I get, everybody does their thing, and like that's totally cool on you, but like if I'm at a festival, I've paid to see live music and have a good time, not take photos.
It is different. Like you do see that whole world. It's almost like a red carpet. Like I follow some girls that were planning their outfit like 3 months in advance. It's like, what are you wearing?
Like,
Like,
dude, people,
to
some of
Coachella.
these people
Oh,
don't even
yeah.
go to see the music. They literally just go, get into Coachella, take a couple photos all day, and then leave. Like I literally saw and know people that did that, and I'm like, what? Like that. So that's the part for me that was like a little bit of a turn off. But yeah, I don't think I would do it again. I would definitely want to do something like, I wish Squamish was still a thing, or like Pemby, because those are like the best times ever.
You guys see any famous people?
Well, we met Dana White with you, big boy. So
No, I think
enough.
we were definitely there for the slower weekend.
Yeah.
Like weekend.
So
one.
first weekend's better.
yeah,
Like, I have a
absolutely.
friend-
It does it. It obviously depends on who's playing and shit.
Well, they're the same
same
exact
set.
lineups both weekends.
I didn't know that.
So 600,000 people one weekend, and then exact same lineup, 600,000 people the second
what?
week. Yeah, but
all the famous people get tickets to the first weekend.
first
so
weekend.
just
That's because like
people.
that's like the hype weekend kind of
Like
thing.
I have a friend that saw Timothy Chalamet on the first weekend, like right up front.
Who's that?
This is the main character
Dune?
from Dune.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Never
Man.
saw Dune.
Oh,
I saw the
what?
trailer.
So
saw the
good.
trailer.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was Coachella, man.
Damn. Well, that was something for the viewers to listen to, but I don't really know about. Would you recommend? I still am on the edge of. Would you recommend?
She's a
it,
yes. She's a
There
yes
you
for
go.
Coachella.
Like if you have the
I'm
right people and you're there,
Yeah,
like,
I
you
definitely
have
want
so
to go to
much
Coachella
fun.
at some
Yeah.
point. Coachella
Yeah,
looks
definitely
pretty sick, but-
do it so you can say that you did it. But
Yeah.
I mean, definitely a good group of people makes a difference for sure.
And go when you want to listen to the music. Like, don't go in a year where you're like, oh, I couldn't really care about the headliners. Like, go if you actually love the people.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
there are
sure.
a few that like Vince Staples, we were right up front, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because that was at 5 o'clock and no one was there yet, you know? So,
Yeah.
like, if you know some people, like, it's definitely worth it because they put on a good show.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to add before we wrap this up?
No, man. I mean, it's actually been a blast talking about this. We haven't been able to like.
You guys finally get
We
to
haven't
like
really
express
digressed at all,
yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really like explained any of this or our travels or anything like that.
Still
so
kind of
it's awesome to
settling in,
hop on.
honestly, I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but
All right, guys. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry that I look like such a fucking bum, but like I'm in my own home, so this is great. Guys, I love you. Go subscribe. Go follow. We'll throw these guys' instas up one more time. No, we'll just do it at the beginning of the video. Go watch the shit at the beginning of the video, guys. Thank you for watching, guys. Peace.
all right, catch you guys later. Bye.